Can a 44-year-old who hasn't played in 5 years come back and play? Philip Rivers?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Colts are supposed to work him out.
That's none of my business, man. I'm trying to get ready for the Dolphins. For me, the decision wasn't easy. There's human nature to have a little doubt. Who wouldn't have doubt after 5 years? You know, but where's that? Is that doubt real or not? And it's like, well, let's again, like I go back to our first answer. The only way you can find out is to go.
Remember, I gave this a little spin before the show started. NFL Power Rankings has entered Week 15. I honestly thought I'd be beginning this episode with a long apology to Colts fans, since the curse wheel accurately landed on them for all 4 of their losses and, of course, the injury of Daniel Jones. Instead, I think you can look at this wheel as a wheel of destiny. Destiny's Child has brought the father of many a child's, Philip Rivers, out of retirement for your team. For your team. In possibly the most surprising moment in the NFL since Andrew Luck's retirement.
The 6th-round pick with the chance to go on a playoff run, I'd have to be dead to not be on the field.
Nobody knows how this will pan out, but it's the most daggum darn tootin' diddly-doo I've been excited about Colts football in a decade.
Calm down, diddly 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 diddly.
Shoot! Touchdown!
But before I rank the top teams, we're going to the healing lights of heaven, and I am surrounding Daniel Jones with the healing lights of heaven. I'm surrounding the Colts. I'm surrounding Riley Leonard's knee. Anyone who lives in Indianapolis or anyone who has ever visited the city. I'm also placing new Colts quarterback in there for protection. Yes, extra protection for Rivers, something he has never used.
Oh, you're having another? I get that question all the time. Are you done?
I am wrapping his entire body in a bubble wrap. Also, Zach Ertz, you get the healing light of heaven as well. And Purgatory, Russell Wilson doing national TV work the same week Jameis Winston was doing national TV work.
Duval!
What's your Broadway one?
Duval!
And Russ was probably, honestly, better in terms of actually discussing football. Jameis will always be more entertaining, but Russ was also asked to talk about the Broncos' success this season, which to his credit, he did really well.
The best thing they have is Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
Cortland Sutton, man, he's the guy you want to go to. He played with a guy like Julio.
Yeah,
you give him a chance, he's going to make the play.
And did you see him pep up when he was about to talk about Cortland Sutton? I love Cortland. And hell, the Chiefs ball catchers, who now have 25 drops this year. And when they aren't dropping passes, Patrick Mahomes is overthrowing them. The funny part is the Broncos and Jaguars have more drops with 33 and 38 on the season. And Bo Nix and Trevor Lawrence take way more shit than Patrick Mahomes. Which is also funny because Mahomes has more bad throws than both Nix and Lawrence this season. He's actually 3rd in the NFL for the most bad throws. And we'll start here at number 14, which, with the Patriots, Panthers, and 49ers all coming off a bye and not getting ranked today, that opened the door for a fringe playoff team. The Ravens, the Chiefs, the Dolphins. Honestly, I think I'm giving Miami the edge here at 14. Their overtime victory over the Commanders a few weeks ago was massive. This was a 1-6 team that has won 5 of 6, but if I am being really honest, I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals are better than all these teams. That stated, I'm sticking with the Dolphins. I think Miami has earned a nod here at 14. Mike McDaniel survived the hottest seat in the league. He may have learned he can also rely on Jalen Johnson out of the backfield, which if Devin Achane plays through his rib injury, which it looks like he will, that could give the Dolphins a legit two-headed monster on offense. And it's almost too perfect that these Dolphins play the Steelers on Sunday. Coming in at 13, the Eagles, I guess. Congratulations, Philly, you beat up on a disabled man and still lost. I expect that from your fans, but not your football team. Jordan Davis had a career game. I think a lot of guys do against that Chargers line. Cooper DeJean was the perfect match for Lad McConkey. Who would have guessed that DeJean would stick to that white like white on rice? Me, I did. The Eagles' offense isn't just worse than it was last season, it's the worst it's been in the Nick Sirianni era. But to cheer up Eagles fans, I'll simply play the greatest audio clip in maybe NFL history.
Interception. Fumble by the defense,
by the offense, fumbled by the offense, and recovered by the defense. Change of possession.
It's week 15, so I just think this is who the Eagles' offense is. Even that long run from Saquon came with a weird rush to the line, a unique formation that caught the Chargers off guard. The Eagles used to impose their will. Now they're riding their fucking wills. Today's episode is sponsored by Element. Element is a zero-sugar electrolyte drink mix and sparkling water aimed at helping you stay hydrated and hitting optimal sodium levels. Element has 4 flavors of their sparkling electrolyte water: pineapple, black cherry, lemonade, and orange salt. Last month I asked Element to send me more black cherries. 3 days after they approved the ad, I had a fresh case of sparkling black cherry at my door. What I like about the sparkling drinks is they have half of the sodium, the electrolytes, potassium, and magnesium, which means I can sip on 2 cans or just have 1 on days where I might not be sweating my butt off and I might not need those electrolytes. The packs, these guys, they have a salty punch, which I love, but these are milder, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but they're nice mixers for those who partake as well. So whether it's the sparkling drinks or one of the packs, you're getting a dose of electrolytes free of sugar, artificial colors, all the stuff you don't want. Element is now giving anyone who uses my link below a new sample pack that features 2 packs of their most popular flavors. That's 4 flavors, 8 total samples for you to try, and it's for new or existing customers when you use my link and make a purchase with Element. Number 12, the Steelers. Dolphins, Lions, Browns, and Ravens. Those are the 4 remaining games for the 7-6 Pittsburgh Steelers. Everything is shaping up for this team to finish 1 game above 500. Just when you thought Mike Tomlin couldn't get any more slightly above average, he delivers a season for the ages. He really is the mirror image of Jeff Fisher. In no way do I think the Steelers are actually good, but it does take an odd amalgamation of talent and will and dumb luck to get a win as your opponent gashes you for 207 yards. If I can quote the great urinating tree, this is peak Steelers bullshit. Get out your toilet paper, because you're going to need it after playing them. Number 11, the Buccaneers. Playing in the NFC South is really the greatest luxury in football, because how else would a 7-6 team in the midst of a 1-4 stretch still be at the top of their division? Everything seems to be falling apart for the Bucs, even their first-round draft pick. Counting his hot start to the season, Emeka Egbuka has been one of the least efficient receivers in the league. After putting up 163 yards in Seattle, Egbuka has topped 60 yards just once and has caught just 1 touchdown. I do think he'll recover sooner or later, but the rookie wall seems to be made of bricks, as are his hands. Just kidding, his 8 drops are on par with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Christian McCaffrey based on the amount of targets they've received this season. Mike Evans has been practicing with the team, not sure when he's going to play yet, but I think it's fair to say that Gronk kind of cursed Emeka Egbuka. Can't even say his name fucking right because of that clip. Number 10, the Lions. The Lions can't really enjoy any of their victories this year, especially one of their better ones this season, without some sort of loss happening, right? This time they lost Brian Branch to injury, who tore his Achilles and is going to miss the rest of the season. He joins Terry and Arnold on IR, and losing 2 starters in your secondary in back-to-back weeks, there's no good way to say this. It just fucking blows. Detroit did sign DeMonte Kazi to the practice squad, who led the NFL in interceptions all the way back in 2018. Did he pick Rivers that year? Did he? I don't know. But Kazi played 4 games for the Browns earlier this season, and anytime you can add a guy that the Browns don't want, I say do it.
Oh, no.
The key, though, is you have to wait until that guy plays for 2 other teams first. It's not just Branch, though, right? Kirby Joseph hasn't played since October 12th. He had 3 interceptions in the 6 games he did play this season, and now Detroit pushes forward without one of the most dynamic safety duos in the league. Joseph, with a bone bruise and cartilage damage in his knee, won't ever be 100% this season. The good news is Avonte Maddox actually played pretty well in 80 snaps against Dallas. Number 9, I got the Bears. Life comes at you fast, doesn't it, Chicago? Especially in the NFC. One week, you're number 1. You're the 1 seed in the conference. Ben Johnson is ripping his shirt off in the locker room. You're getting free wieners. It's looking like you're ready to host your first playoff game in 7 years. And 1 end zone interception later, you're the 7 seed with 3 games left against teams jockeying for position, the Packers, Niners, and Lions. It does help to get reprieve against Cleveland next week, but I'm not totally convinced this defense is going to put the clamps on Shedeur Sanders. I will say I am starting to fall in love with Kyle Monangai. He's a punishing runner and has been since college. He was the Big Ten leader in broken or missed tackles. When you watch him, you know he breaks a lot of tackles, and I feel like he's Ben Johnson's new David Montgomery. The new Monty. DeAndre Swift gets more touches, but he and Monangai each have 5 touchdowns this year. Their offensive success depends on those 2 down the stretch. And Caleb Williams needs to play just a little bit better. 2 to 3 more completions per game would go a long way for Caleb.
But I also left knowing I had some left in the tank.
8, the Chargers. If the Chargers had any semblance of an offensive line, I'd have you ranked much, much higher, LA. But getting a win in primetime against the Philly front while Herbert was sacked 7 times is impressive. It reminded me of Joe Burrow and the Bengals defeating the Titans in the playoffs while we all watched Joey Burrow get dropped 9 times. Justin Herbert is the only quarterback in the last 10 years to get a win with the pressure rate higher than 65%. Now, I glazed Herbie up pretty good this morning on GPS, but I will say it again. His Monday night win was one of the most impressive quarterback performances I have ever watched. If he wins out and faces that kind of pressure in these last 4 games with his broken-ass hand, he's the MVP. Also, here's Troy Aikman telling a story about Oronde Gadsden's dad.
I played with his dad with the Cowboys back in the late 90s. What I remember most about his dad's years with me, he had a pet monkey he used to bring to the locker room, on a lot of occasions.
Wait, was his dad Michael Jackson? Or Ace Ventura? Or Dunston checks in? Number 7, the Bills. Josh Allen is once again getting mentioned as an MVP, a year removed from his first MVP, and he's currently leading the offense with the best EPA per drive in the NFL. I think 3 QBs have really earned MVP talks this season. Josh, because of the freakish shit he does every game, Drake May, and my top guy still Matthew Stafford. Allen is peaking at the exact right time for Buffalo. He's also 4 touchdowns away from 300 in his career, which would make him the first player to hit that milestone before the age of 30. On the other side of the field, Christian Benford is turning into a dominant force. Over the last 2 weeks, he's allowed just 1 reception for 2 yards. He's got 2 picks, 2 defensive touchdowns, and a sack. The Bills won the turnover battle in their last 2 victories. It's their most important metric moving forward, in my humble but accurate opinion. Coming in at 666, the team with the most devil magic is the Texans. They are doing some very devilish shit right now. They were 3-5 without their starting quarterback after losing on a walk-off field goal against Denver. A little over a month later, they have a 94% chance to make the playoffs and a 37% chance to leapfrog the Jaguars for the division, according to The Athletic. They also have an extremely favorable schedule the next 2 weeks, okay? They're home against the Cardinals and the Raiders before a tough matchup at the Chargers that's likely to have massive playoff seeding implications. Everyone is going to point to their defense as the primary reason for the 5-game win streak, and that is plenty fair. But in that span, receiver Nico Collins had 502 yards and 2 TDs. He's well on pace for his 3rd straight 1,000-yard season, but he's really been heating up when the Texans needed him the most. His production feels like it's been happening underground on Sunday mornings. And yes, that is a Velvet Underground and Nico reference.
And I will answer your question a little better on the playing weight, Greg. And not what it was when I walked off the field in Buffalo. All right, I can tell you that. But then I'll follow that up with I ain't never ran away from anybody anyway.
Number 5, the Jaguars. Nobody gives a shit about the Jags. Everybody's jagging off in shame. In shame, they're jagging off. Well, I'm here to tell you it's time to jag off in public and do it with pride. And I think the Jags are using the lack of attention to their advantage. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, and Liam Cohen all noted after the game that they're fine not getting any attention in the AFC. So why am I even talking about them? Well, Lawrence just came off a game against the Colts where he totaled the highest EPA of any QB not named Josh Allen or Matthew Stafford. And he did it against a team with a winning record. In the rain. Devin Lloyd has also been one of the most impactful defensive players in the NFL. His 5 interceptions this season have added a 103% win probability for Jacksonville this season. Number 4, I've got the Seahawks. Unfortunately, your defense is possibly about to have Phillip Rivers unload on you. And when Rivers drops a load, maternity wards work overtime.
I do feel good. There's something about being back in this building that feels right.
The last time Philly Rivers battled Sam Darnold, Sam was seeing mono-riddled ghosts, and Rivers went 17-21 in that game with 217 passing yards and a TD.
That goes.
Darnold threw 3 picks.
That was weird. First quarter, defense scored twice.
Since November started, Darnold has thrown 9 touchdowns to 7 picks. Seattle keeps winning, though, because of their defense. They boast the 3rd highest QB pressure rate in the league right now, and that definitely could consume Phillip Rivers if he does play. If Rivers is sharp, though, he will neutralize it. I think we will see Sam Darnold go off again. The Colts are middle of the pack in terms of QB pressure. Sauce Gardner's nursing a calf injury. DeForest Buckner just started practicing again in his IR window. I don't think he's playing this week. The only concern you have, Seattle, is the Rivers X Factor. Other than that, you have every advantage against the Colts, except for the X Factor. Number 3, I got the Packers. Teams coming off a game against the Chicago Bears are 2-9-1 this season. I'm just saying. Does that trend continue for the Packers after a very emotional win at Lambeau Field? I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. I'm praying it does. Here's a trend I'm almost certain will change. Micah Parsons has not drawn a holding call all season. The fact that this stat has now caught my attention and he's going against the most penalized team in the league next week guarantees he will draw some laundry onto the field. Probably on more than one occasion, if I had to guess. Parsons versus Garrett Bowles or Mike McGlinchey, who unlike most tackles don't need a lot of help against top pass rushers, will be the matchup to watch. Those two have combined to allow just 1 sack all season. Parsons will have more success against McGlinchey. Green Bay plays Micah all over the defensive line, but I expect a heavy dose of him on McGlinchey's side. Will it work? I hope the fuck not. I'll be bringing out slices of cheese to combat Tom's P for the D all game long. Number 2, the Rams. After what was essentially a throwaway rookie season, Blake Corum has finally emerged as perhaps the most dangerous runner on the Rams offense. He's up to 500 yards this season, averaging nearly 5.5 yards per carry. He's also tops in the NFL in terms of EPA per rush among qualified running backs, even ahead of one Jonathan Taylor. It's hard to take carries away from Kyren Williams, but I think it benefits the Rams to divvy it up for December and January. And number 1, I've got the Broncos. Bo Nix appears to be locking it in at the right time for Denver. Since week 8 against the Cowboys, he's been a top 10 quarterback in EPA per play, ahead of even one Patty Mahomes. Interesting. That also includes the Thursday night Raiders game, which I've already decided doesn't really count, except for the part where Denver won. Denver is also 1 win away from officially clinching a playoff spot, but they could also get in with a loss from the Texans and the Colts. Bo's not perfect, okay? But since Sean Payton has increased Pat Bryant's snap count and dropped Troy Franklin's snap count, Bo Nix has played much better. PFF has Quinn Miners graded as the best guard in football, and since Quinn plays for my team, I agree with that grade. I agree. The Broncos, though, they have fallen to 4th on their QB pressure percentage at 39.5. I think the defense has been weirdly less impressive since Pat Surtain returned, and I'm not saying that's causation, but against Green Bay, that pass rush has to get home, and we will need all of the Broncos corners on the field to cover all 80 of the Packers fucking receivers. And Jordan Love was 9-12 passing with 3 touchdowns against the blitz versus the Bears. Vance Joseph likes to blitz, but I think he will be wise to dial that back a bit and let that 4 to 5 man front get home naturally. And now let's see what the curse wheel wants to do. Let's see who it's going to take down next. Remember, I did do a little spin before the show started, and it landed on fuck KC. If you thought Kansas City was safe for not being in power rankings today, you don't know my pettiness at all. Okay, here we go. And don't forget, benchwarmershop.com. Basically the last day you can order there the Curse Shirts coffee and expect to get it on time for Christmas if you're gifting. All right. Oh, I'll fix it next week. Ooh, 12. Who did we put it? It went for 12 again. Who's at 12? The Steelers! Congratulations, Miami, if you don't beat the Steelers on a curse week. Well, your season's over and your playoff hopes are dead. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe to the weirdest football YouTube channel on earth. Are you weird? This is where you belong. Don't fit in? I got a home for you.